largest food distribution center, which would divert 30,000 tons of corrugated per year, reduce greenhouse gas emissions equivalent to taking 19,000 cars off the road, and save businesses $3 to $6 million a year. So we have that. We have those numbers there. We are making progress in terms of getting out in the press this week. A number of stories underway from our presence at the trade show. We were at Greener Package yesterday, as well as Waste News. We have trials underway in Interstate Container and Mount Air that expect to have results in the near future. And Cynthia Forsh had a great idea yesterday after speaking with, seeing the Conserve National Restaurant Association about putting together a video about the benefits of recyclable packaging that we could create and put on that site. And was going to begin to develop a storyboard for that to get out the word. So what I'd like to do here, that we have a small group of dedicated people to the cause, is what other things do we need to do to get trials happening and to break through this in this market.
First of all, man, is including getting the booth design and getting it all in there and everything, and then getting us together, and really appreciate that. In fact, I think what we're learning now is that it's hard to get people to come this far from the hall when that's their destination to have breakfast when they come there hungry and they know they're going to eat. I guess that's problem one, because see, we had so many people come by the booth and said, yeah, we'll be there tomorrow morning, we'll see you. But we're just kind of alarmed that some of them sounded so enthusiastic about it that we were sure we were going to see them. The second thing is, I really do think this project is not only is it quantifiable, but the news releases that you put out, I've already seen in 3 major press.
You see another?
Yes.
Which one?
It's Packaging World or whatever.
Greener Package.
Yeah. And it was in Waste News, and then I can't remember the other one, but you probably have seen it. I think we'll begin to see it in the larger publications now, because the people, when I went over to see them in Time Inc., they just wanted to know what magazines we thought these things should be presented in, because they're all doing green work now. So I think you're on the right track. I wouldn't be too discouraged about the turnout.
Well, that's our idea with these coordinating these trials, and box makers and others as they come sharing that information with us, because we can really help to promote, get the testimonials, and if we can get a steady stream and really have to show that these boxes unequivocally work for strawberries to broccoli across the board, it's really going to help that sea change happen. So,
I have some thoughts there. I mean, just in increasing the awareness. And we at the Council of Environment have 150,000 New Yorkers every day in our green markets. They walk through the green markets, and those tend to be environmentally conscious people. And when you mention broccoli and strawberries, sometimes just that visual helps the New Yorker understand it. You know, maybe some of you in the container business, maybe we can work on some kind of signage at the green market. Not only move a local farmer within 300-mile radius in New York, they sell in our markets, spend millions of dollars, self-sustain, support the city, bless you. One of the things we might want to do is create some kind of signage that explains, here, this is where this box comes from, this is the effect on the waste stream if it's deployed, and so forth. And you know, and by the way, this is a new effort that you're doing in Hunts Point and elsewhere, and so forth. I mean, that's 150,000 New Yorkers a day. Another thought is that the next time we do a Green Business Summit, is maybe put you, Annie, or someone on a panel to talk about this program, and really invite some of the product lines to present to businesses. I mean, in the Queen, I mentioned the Queen Summit. In the Queen Summit, we had about 50 restaurants. Some of them from Flushing, you know, sort of Asian-owned restaurants that really didn't know a lot about how to green their operation, but they were all about hearing, you know, what wholesalers are acting responsibly. So that's a very good value proposition for you, and what they could do that's easy, you know, the low-hanging fruit.
Right. So we were hearing at the trade show booth, getting a lot of hearing the same names again of suppliers. Restaurant Depot. Are you familiar with that group, and
Yeah.
how big are they? And
Restaurant Depot, in my view,
so you have like a
they're-
Sam's
they're-
Club or
yeah, they're
equivalent?
sort of a Costco for
Right.
someone who's quasi in the restaurant business, or even big operators. I don't say I even said something there, but some of the more sophisticated chains are doing two things now. Either they have jobbers who are delivering, so
Right.
the guy who's going to Hunts Point is delivering to them, or now if green is the new gold, local is the new green. So a lot of those restaurateurs are trying to buy. We source our food to the extent that we can from farmers within a 300-mile radius in New York, and we do it via the green
How
markets.
many? What's your rate of reusable crates versus corrugated? You're still getting a lot of
I'm still seeing a lot of coated
Okay.
stuff, and in Restaurant Depot in particular, a lot of that stuff is coated from what I've seen.
Sure.
And so it would be palatable or attractive to me if one of the guys who drives the truck, these jobbers per se, every Tuesday, can drop off produce from Hunts Point, and he's sourcing produce that's in a non-wax coated container. And by the way, that's just a value proposition that I'm familiar with. I'm sure that you folks have things other than non-wax coated cardboard, or all kinds of products that can help green the supply chain. And getting that word out is as interesting to me as anything
Yeah,
else.
we are Global Green. The coalition is working on a range of issues. This really is about the wax corrugated today. So
Perfect.
we have
That's great.
interstate container, Mount Airy, Timberland.
A lot of the questions that came up in Queens when we had this dialogue were, is it as waterproof as the wax? I mean, sort of the practical questions. And I'd love to see all of you who are nodding your heads. I'd love to see you in a room of people like me, like deer looking at headlights on the highway, saying, "Wait a second, are you sure the fish guts aren't going to spill onto my floor?" I mean, that's what you have to kind of bring it down to that level. And if we or Annie or together, if we can bring you 200 restaurateurs to ask those silly questions, you'll win. That's the goal. You need the guys who are saying, "Well, what can I do?" and taking notes, and how can I encourage my wholesaler in Hunts Point to adopt this practice?
Right. Others that have ideas or questions. I don't know if we need to introduce ourselves around the room quickly here.
With ecological strategies, I'm a consultant to Becky Malamet. I'm with the Korean Restaurant Association. I just wanted to, if I could quickly comment.
Yeah, please.
What we do offer certification. Also, really the crux of what we do is consulting and helping restaurants find products, resources, services that they want to green themselves. Most restaurateurs are very good at running a restaurant and want to make green steps or sustainable steps, but don't really know where to start. So we can help them with that, or we do help them with that. And we have a range of restaurants from people who have been doing great work, such as you have here on your own, as well as restaurants that have no idea where to start. But for the most part, we consistently get questions about how do I affect the supply chain? How do I stop the waxy cardboard? All of our restaurants are recycling, so they see the savings and the benefit of recycling versus hauling all trash. So if they can't recycle an item like waxy cardboard, they want to know what their alternatives are. And also styrofoam packaging. They always want information they can provide to their suppliers for alternatives to styrofoam. So I think the more information we can be armed with and the more alternatives we can give them. There's great buying power in New York City with restaurateurs between the Green Business Summits, as well as we have a really solid hub of restaurants in New York City. So they would be a great group to start with, potentially, once we're able to find the alternatives. I have a number of restaurants that I can think of off the top of my head that would be more than happy to start to test it, start to influence their suppliers or food purveyors, things of that nature. So
That'd be great.
it's another avenue to take this.
When I'm Scott Sandell,